Meet you.
Hi, I'm Haley.
Nice to meet you, Miss Haley. How you guys doing? Tino Sunseri.
Nice
Nice to
to meet you.
meet you. How you doing?
Tracy.
Tracy, how you doing,
Hey,
man?
Ben Bolch.
Nice to meet you, Ben. How you guys doing?
Good.
Everybody okay?
Yep.
Yeah. What makes you want to shake everyone's hand and introduce yourself? Is that just how you were raised, or like?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to be able to think that being from the South, that's one of the things you need to be able to do is you need to be respectful to the people that you're around, and you need to be able to make sure that you address them, be able to introduce yourself, and be able to start off on the right path. And that's what I wanted to be able to do, is make sure that you guys know that anything you guys need or anything that comes up, just be able to ask, and we'll be able to make sure that we work cohesively all year.
Deshaun made it a point to say you were Sicilian, not Italian. What's the, I guess, the difference for those of us who aren't familiar?
Well, Sicilians, we're at the bottom of the boot, if you don't know. And sometimes whenever it goes to our complexions and everything like that, we're a little bit darker. So a lot of people back in the day used to look at us a certain way. And whenever we first came over on the boat, we weren't considered white, we weren't considered African American, so we were right in the middle. So a lot of pride in that, what comes into it. My grandfather had to be able to quit in high school because his dad died of a heart attack, and wanted to be able to go to work and built his business. So when it comes to being Sicilian, it's just something we're really, really proud of being able to come over here and start a journey in here in the United States.
So, speaking of journey, can you tell us about your first memories of Coach Foster, meeting him, and kind of, building that relationship to get to where you are now?
Yes, sir. So I was actually very, very fortunate growing up. I was a coach's kid, so I was able to be around all kinds of different places. The coolest thing was going from NAIA all the way to my dad being able to work at the Carolina Panthers and moving 10 to 11 times before being able to hit being out of high school. So being able to kind of be around all over. But when my dad went to the Panthers, my dad was having to be able to work really, really early, and I got there in 6th grade. What I had to be able to do was, in order to see my dad on the weekends, is I had to be able to travel into the facility with him at 5:15 in the morning and work. So I worked in the equipment room, folding towels, putting away laundry, doing anything I could, being in the meeting rooms, because I wanted to be around my father. But also that team was unbelievably special at that time with Coach Fox and Coach Marty Herney, what they built around, and Coach Foster was on that team, and he was just an unbelievable person. He was somebody in which they would come up to you as a young kid that looked up to all these NFL players, that was having all these success, and would take the time to be able to talk to you, spend the time with you, and was really, really genuine. So when it came to him and our relationship, it was somebody that I knew that whenever I walked in the building, I felt like I had a friendship with at that time, even though I was only 10, 11, 12, 13 years old.
So did you keep up, how much did you keep up with him from when he left the Panthers to when you got the job here?
The thing that's interesting is we did not. So whenever you have a relationship, I feel like you build a genuine relationship. It doesn't matter if you haven't talked to that person in 3 years or 30 minutes. You can still be able to have the qualities and traits and great conversation and be able to catch up and be able to see how everyone's doing. The first time I actually saw Coach Foster was whenever we got done with the game against UCLA. I was able to give him a hug after the game just to be able to say hello to him and be able to make sure that him and his family were doing well since our time at Carolina.
Is it a bit surreal now to be working under him?
I don't know if it's surreal, but it's awesome. I can't thank him enough for the opportunity. I love him as a person. I think that he's everything that this university needs, of being able to drive this thing to the right place because of his background of being at UCLA, being a Bruin, and loving what this place is about. And I feel like with us and the trajectory that we're going, it's been a lot of fun being able to work with him so far.
What was the process of bringing you here? How did he reach out? Did you connect in between that time? You first met him. What brought you here?
Yes, sir. So what happened was that at the end of the year, as we started to be able to get towards the end, was that I ended up being able to get reached out to by about 6 or 7 schools. And I started to be able to hear from a lot of different head coaches, a lot of different people that were trying to be able to hear from me, but I also wanted to be able to hear from them. I wanted to be able to make sure the situation that I'd be walking into, because I was in a situation in Indiana, which is a great place, great people, and respect for everything that they're doing there. But as I started to be able to peel back the layers and talking to each individual head coach, it just so happened that whenever I talked to Coach Foster, the only thing that he repeatedly talked about was the players. In every situation, helping them grow, helping them learn, helping them evolve, making sure that they were going to be able to understand that life after football was more important than football itself, because what you're going to be doing for 40 years is different than 4. But being able to make sure that we're going to be able to give them the best chance and opportunity to fulfill their dreams. So after being able to talk to everybody, there was no doubt that with my heart and my mind, the only thing I could think was UCLA.
Can you describe your offensive philosophy?
My offensive philosophy is going to be smart, physical, fast, poised, and disciplined. We're going to be able to make sure our players understand what to be able to do right? We're going to know how to be able to do it and why we're doing it that way each and every play. We're going to put the defense in a lot of turmoil of being able to understand how to be able to understand shifting, motioning, being able to make sure that they have to be able to guard every blade of grass as much as they do horizontally as they do vertically, being able to put pressure on them to be able to stop the ball or being run at them. We need to run the football, control the line of scrimmage, being able to make sure that these guys have to be able to understand that our big linemen are going to be able to come off that ball with physicality, while then being able to play action pass, RPO, and take the things that now all of a sudden, if they try to take that runaway, we can now be able to maximize with what they're trying to do.
What do you see from the players that are out there already? I know it's only 1 week, but anyone stand out?
I see that everybody is giving immense effort. This is a great group of guys that wants to be able to be coached hard. They want to be able to learn. They want to be able to understand the reasons for what they're doing and why they're doing it that way. But there's a lot of coaching going on right now, which is great. And they're being able to hear a lot more information, new information, of being able to allow themselves to be able to go out here so that they can be able to make sure that they can do the best thing they can do in life. Make a highly educated decision based on the circumstances and situations that they're in that game. So what we have to continuously do is we have to be able to make sure that these guys understand exactly what's going on, what exactly we're asking of them, so that they can be able to go out there and be able to make sure that they can be able to produce, because it's not what we know, it's what our players can apply.
How involved have you been in play calling before this?
So whenever it came to Indiana, there wasn't really a play that was called that was a pass that Mike Shanahan wouldn't call to me and ask me if I liked that. Going into each and every series, it was one of those deals, whether it came to RPOs, play action pass, drop back pass, anything with the quarterback being able to make that throw, I was the one being able to make sure that Coach Shanahan understood this is what I liked and what I wanted to be able to go to. And then we would be able to formulate our menus in games off of that. And we would be able to talk cohesively back and forth with Coach Signetti being able to come in and be able to chime in whenever he felt fit and whenever he needed to. But me and Coach Shanahan was able to do that together.
And so do you have full autonomy here at UCLA?
Yes, sir. We're being able to make sure that I'm installing everything that I want to be able to. We're expanding on what we did. We're being able to make sure that we're going to be able to do more than we did at Indiana, while trying to be able to bring the philosophy of what Indiana is about, or what I've been around with Coach Signetti. Let me say that, Coach Signetti, not Indiana, because it's Coach Signetti's philosophy, which is a saving philosophy, which is what I believe in too, which is being able to make sure that you're disciplined and understanding what you're trying to be able to do, to be able to have the poise to be able to execute and play great late in games.
What have you thought of Joey so far?
I think Joey's a guy that can be able to understand information. I think he's a guy that can really be pushed. I'm somebody that, learning from Jimbo Fisher early on in my career, I have to be able to make sure that I'm out on this field being able to press him in all situations, so that by the time he gets to be able to play in a game and being able to handle everything around him, their expectations in that stadium aren't as high as mine are on this practice field. So I think that he's been able to take all that coaching. He's learning each and every day. He's being able to apply. But it's a lot of learning for him, which is great. So every single day, he's coming in with the humility to be able to really understand what we're engaging in, how we're trying to be able to learn, and what he can be able to apply to help himself gain and get better.
Garrett DeGiorgio talked about you lifting guys up. How important is it to kind of boost confidence, especially early in the process?
It's all about relationships. This whole game, whole life is about relationships. And we're building a relationship with our players. It's just like if you're a father. Are you a father?
Yes.
Okay, so you're a father, right? You have to be able to discipline your kids to be able to make sure that they understand what you're trying to be able to do, but you need to love them up enough to be able to know that they also know that you're doing it because you're telling them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear, because you love them and you want them to be able to continuously grow. So what we have to be able to do as coaches is piggyback all these great parents that they've been able to give us their sons, and we have to be able to make sure to press them to be able to get them to where they want to go, but we got to love them up so much so that they know that we're doing it in a sense to where we're trying to be able to make them the best that they can be. We want to be able to make them the best version of themselves every single day. So we got to be able to make sure that we put the pressure on them to come in this building with an attitude of being able to make sure that, hey, if I'm in this building, let me be able to do something that I'm going to be able to make sure that it's going to be able to help me be able to grow into the vision I see myself becoming.
And looking at your recent success, between James Madison and Indiana, 4 different quarterbacks in 4 different years. So this will be, a 5th year with a 5th different quarterback. How much confidence does that give you working with a brand new group of guys?
It's something that's new to me. right? It's something that when I was at Alabama, we had Mac Jones, and we had to be able to make sure that he was the next guy in, and you didn't have to do as much teaching. Whenever I went to James Madison, then every single year, it was something that I had to be able to make sure that these guys understood. But the cool thing is at the end of the day, it allows you to be able to go back to square one and really be able to concentrate on what you think that you're doing well as a coach. So as much as I'm trying to be able to coach them, I'm also coaching myself. Is there a way that I could have been able to articulate something better for them to be able to apply? Is there something that I could have done in the day to be able to build their confidence? As much as I'm trying to make them self-assess each and every day, I'm doing myself. So when it comes to being able to be at a new place, being around a new quarterback staff and all new guys, it's something I'm used to being able to do, but it's something that I'm going to be able to make sure that every day that I'm being able to grow, because I want to be able to make sure that I'm continuously learning and evolving as much as they're trying to too.
We saw a lot of short passes, going to tight ends a lot today. Is that just where you're at right now? Like, do you anticipate developing some more deep threats as we go through spring?
Yes, ma'am. So what we're doing is we're taking what the defense is giving us. So there might be a lot of short passes and stuff right now. It's because the defense is playing off. And that's the biggest thing that these quarterbacks have to be able to learn in college football, is that you need to be needy, not greedy. Is that a lot of these defenses make a lot of plays because the quarterback just makes a bad decision. There's not a lot of plays out there in college football where somebody's just making a heck of a play on the ball and being able to make sure that you have to be real weary of a player. A lot of times it's because the quarterback got fooled and forced an issue. So what we have to continuously do is to be able to develop our discipline at quarterback to be able to take what they give us, especially with it being a base down day to day, first and second down, that if all of a sudden they're being able to sync off, we got to be able to take 5, 6, 8, 10-yard completions, because whenever it's in tag off right now, who says that that's tackle football in real life? So we got to be able to take what the defense gives us and give us the best chance to be able to continuously move that ball down the field.
Giorgio also mentioned you have a family pizza place.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us about that?
So whenever my grandfather started his place in the Strip District and got done, my uncle started Sunseri's, and then off of Sunseri's in Pittsburgh, they started Bellinote, and now Bellinote is where I actually got my first job. I was a busboy at, and it made me learn really, really fast that I need to work as hard as I can, because that's something that I didn't want to do, is have to clean up after people like that, right? Gave me a little bit extra motivation, but it allowed me to be able to also do the most important thing, was to be around family, be able to help them as much as I could, because with being an Italian, you also know that family's everything to me, so I love being able to help my Uncle Nino, my Uncle Jimmy, and everybody down there at the store as much as I possibly can.
And that's still there today?
Yes, sir, it's still there.
And what's the special on the menu? What's the best thing to eat?
Well, the best thing that I love is whenever I go to the pizza shop is that they do their sliced pepperoni. So it's not one of those to where you're getting full on pepperonis, it's the little slices. So every single bite you take, you're getting a piece.
Looking at the staff around you, I think there's 2 assistant or grad assistants. Is it Matt Biondi, Teddy
sir. Todd Centeo.
Yeah. What do they bring as far as helping these guys learn your system?
Well, let me first talk about my staff that Coach Foster and myself were able to put together, and Andy Quan being able to come with me, that had familiarity at Alabama, unbelievable guy, unbelievable coach, has been able to develop players all over, has a really, really unique way of connecting with his guys, does a great job. AJ, our running backs coach, does a great job of being able to make sure to keep these guys disciplined, balanced, base. I mean, he's on top of it. We've had very, very minimal MAs with everything that the backs are going on right now. Super, super pleased with him. And also a great guy whenever it comes to being able to recruit, also with Andy. Our receivers coach, Burl Toller, is a guy that's having it to where he's a guy that has high energy, really, really good relationships with his guys, being able to make sure that he's really tuned into everything going on. Great recruiter, unbelievable in the room. Jerry, man, I'm so happy that he was here. It's something that he has a pride for UCLA. He's built around this place. He's played here, and a very, very smart football coach. He's somebody that adds into that room, and he's somebody that we know that we can be able to lean on to be able to have it to where he can bounce ideas, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to create a space to where people knew that you didn't have to sit there with your lips sealed. I wanted you to be able to come into that meeting, and I wanted you to be able to bring your ideas, because being able to see through 4 or 5 different lenses is way better than one, and it allows the expansion of thought process, and it allows conversations to be able to go. Todd Centeo and Matt Biondi, I have a really big familiarity with, because Matt Biondi I've known since 2016 at Florida State when he was the student assistant for myself. Whenever he would do all my computer work, he's somebody that's working with the quarterbacks that I ultra trust. He's the first guy that I've allowed in my quarterback room to be able to learn what I'm teaching to the quarterbacks. In my 4 years, I've never had a GA or an analyst. He's the first guy. And then Todd Centeo is a guy that played for me in the Sun Belt whenever we brought him over from Colorado State, and I put him into the receiver room so he'd be able to help those receivers be able to get a quarterback's perspective about exactly what's being asked of them, so that they can be able to expand their game, so they can be able to know more than just what they're doing as a receiver, but they can be able to make sure they know the entirety of what we're trying to do as a unit.
Two more questions, guys.
Coach Foster said that obviously he wants your offense to he wants you to operate the offense as you do, but he has ideas. What ideas has he brought to you? What is the meeting of the minds like with you and Coach Foster?
Well, I think the biggest thing right now that coach is trying to be able to implement is just overall, just culture thoughts. Let's be physical. Let's be fast. Let's move people around. And he has it to where he keeps on being able to tell me to keep it up and to be able to keep going, to keep pressing these guys, to be on the field and being able to do that stuff. I think overall right now what we're trying to be able to do isn't necessarily, hey, we're trying to game plan and this is specifically what's going on. We're trying to be able to do a 500-foot umbrella of letting these guys get exposed to everything that goes on inside of our offense, because we do everything, so that we can be able to have it to where when we get closer to the season, right, and working through these months, we can be able to be really specific about what we do well, so we're not asking our players to do things outside the realm of being able to put them in bad situations whenever we get to games.
You found a favorite food spot here yet?
I haven't. Me and my wife, I'll tell you what, we've been going around as much as possible though, because we're expecting this month. I'm expecting a baby boy. So right now I've been asking her what she's wanted each and every night, and whatever she's craving, that's where we're going.
I got an Italian place for you.
Okay.
Via Veneto on the border of Venice and Santa Monica.
Yes, sir. I'll have to be able to check it out.
It's a good date night spot.
Okay.
Not a lot of good pizza.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. We'll be able to make whatever work. But is that it?
Yeah.
Thank you guys
Thank
so
you.
much.